Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can't do all right, but bear with me 1 second, Israel. Bear with me 1 second. All right, Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Bashim Yashar Thumb, Yahweh Shema Thumb Bashim Yashar. Priest and officer of 1,000 Yadai holding it down till 12 show General Muhammad gets here. Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman. Now is the time to come out of the world. Now is the time, if you are a Black, Latino, or First Nation man and woman, to come into this truth. Like the Most High said this, if I could, I buy, give me Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. Get Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. Also, if you got any questions in the room or any questions online, yeah, I mean, you can type them in right now, or you can hold them for 12 show General Muhammad when he gets here. Let me get Romans chapter 13 and 11.
This is the book of Romans, 13, verse 11.
Go ahead.
And that, knowing the
times. Gotta understand, man, we are in the last days of time right here, right now, man. Right here, right now. Now is not the time to be slacking off. Shalom, where y'all watching that. Now is the time, man. Read on.
But now it's high time to awake out of sleep.
Now it's high time to awake out of sleep. Everybody is fast asleep right now, right, bud? Everybody is fast asleep. When everybody in this society claims to be woke. You know what I mean, Malaki? Everybody on Twitter talking about how woke they are. You know what I mean? How privy to the times they are. But you out there still smoking weed. You still being a whore and a whoremonger, man. You think it's all right to abort and murder your babies, man. You are still fast asleep. Now is the time to awake out of what?
Sleep.
To awake out of sleep. Now is the time to awake out of sleep. Now is the time to come back to your identity, your heritage, your culture. Black man, Latino man and woman. Because we are the Israelites of antiquity. We are the Jews of old, the Israelites, man. Now is time, high time, to awake out of sleep. Any more?
For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Listen, man, our salvation is nearer than when we believe, man. And the Christian church teaches that salvation is for everybody. Salvation is not for all mankind. Salvation is only for that Black man, that Latino man, that First Nation man and woman. That's something that we have to understand and come to terms with. You know what I mean? The Lord is not, you know what I mean, sending Christ to come save everybody. Christ is only coming to save Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. The key is what we have to understand. You know, I saw something early today, and I pray y'all understand, man, when 12 show General Muhammad gets here. You know what I mean? I was looking at something that astounded me. What about the Space Force initiative? The whole picture that they're using, the image they're using for the Space Force initiative is, you know what I mean, Pharaoh. Goes to show you, Malaki, give me the scripture where it says this place is spiritually Egypt and Sodom. Understand this, man. It's letting you know where we're at and the times that we in. America is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, man. And a lot of you can't understand that. You think America is an amazing place. America is not an amazing place for Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women. You got to ask yourself this question. Why did they come up with the Star Wars space initiative during the 80s with Ronald Reagan? Why did Donald Trump initiate the Space Force? Why are they sending astronauts and military up into space? Because they understand and they know that Jesus Christ, you know what I mean, Yahweh Shah Mashiach is returning and is going to return to save his people who are Blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women, the Israelites. Read what you got. Let me know what you got, Malaki.
Like you said, spiritually what?
Yeah, spiritually Egypt and Sodom. I believe it's in Revelations. Understand that. Also, Ibad, hold me. Amos, the 9th chapter and the 8th verse. Whole Amos nodded. Nate, let me know when you got what you got, Malaki.
Revelations, chapter 11 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets, man. You got to understand, man, that the times we living in, like we was reading in Romans, you know what I mean, in the 13th chapter, these are those times, man. These are those times. They murder us in cold blood out in the streets. They do that to this day. George Floyd, Philando Castillo, Sandra Bland. I can go on and on and on. Tamir Rice. Read on.
Of the great city.
Of the great city. What is the great city? What is the great city, man? The great city is talking about America.
Right.
That's the great city. Read on.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. How do you know that America is that place that is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt? What is the main two things, you know what I mean, that are the main two things that all, you know what I mean, those three kingdoms have in common, man? Go ahead, Malaki.
Homosexuality, and the Lord shows the people.
That's right. Malaki is correct. First of all, y'all love to talk about Egypt and Ra and Akhenaten and Set. You know what I mean? You hate to talk about that homosexuality. They don't want to talk about Geb like that. Egypt was the first homosexual metropolis. The Africans made it cool to be a homosexual, and then the white man took it to the umpteenth level with Greece and Rome, man. You can forget about it. America is spiritually Sodom and Egypt because they perpetuate homosexuality to the forefront at every corner, at every turn. You can't even watch a series on Netflix, Malakia. The series be going perfect. You be like, damn, this is a good show. And the next thing you know, they put some gay shit, Salakia, put some homosexuality stuff on TV. Come on, man. Come on. America is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, man. And like Malakia said, man, both those two places, man, oppressed blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women, man. Oppressed blacks and Latinos, man. Go ahead, young man, Will.
This is new. I don't know if it's new, but it's new act called was it Zeus or something like that. And they got this show on there that my rib was trying to show me yesterday. It was about it was called Bad Boys of Houston. It was something Bad Boys of Houston. It was like they were trying to get people to come on that show, and everybody, I guess it was supposed to be like a Bad Girls Club.
Yeah.
They auditioning brothers for Bad Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on that show was homosexual. Everybody. And they had one straight guy up there just still judging him. Blueface was on there and everything. It was just like everybody was on it.
It's a damn shame, brother.
That's a popular show that's about to start.
And you know why they pushing shows like that? Because this place, America, is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, man. They pushing these shows to the forefront. They want to show black men emasculated and being homosexuals. They want to show sisters, you know what I mean, divulging in lesbianism. Hell, if you a boy, they don't even want you to be a boy, no girl. They're trying to make it seem like you could be gender fluid or whatever the hell that is. I saw some story about this little girl, you know what I mean, that was masquerading as a boy for the longest time. And then she woke up one day and was like, you know what? I don't want to be a little boy no more. And pretending I'm a little boy. I'm a little girl. Like, goddamn. Like, whatever your child's gender is, that's what your child is. There's no such thing as, you know what I mean, 44 different types of gender. No, it's male and female and 42 different types of gay. That's what that is. You got to understand, black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, this is something that they're pushing to the forefront. And our people are suffering. They suffered in Sodom, suffered, you know what I mean, in Egypt, man. Forget about it. In Sodom and Gomorrah, man. You can forget about, you know what I mean, our forefather Abraham. You know what I mean? Abraham besought the Lord, man, and said, let me find one. Let me find one. And it started out, what, 50? Down to 40, 30, 25, 10. You can only find, no, and you couldn't even find one. And then if you look at Lot, you know what I mean? Lot was the only righteous man in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Because every other man in Sodom and Gomorrah was a homosexual that was going to GMS, that was going to rape the angels, man. And America is that place, man. It is that place. And that's why when you see this symbolism, you know what I mean, even on their money, even, you know what I mean, in every TV show, like Young Man Will was saying, this is something that they perpetuate to the forefront of our people. But our God is against homosexuality. Our God is against whoredom. Our God is against all of the evil things that America perpetuate. That's why it's important to understand that this is what the Lord is going to do to this place, and rightfully so. All right, Bob, you got what I asked for?
Oh God. This is book of Amos, 9, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom.
The eyes of the Lord God is upon the sinful kingdom. America is the sinful kingdom. America is the sinful kingdom. I was rapping with this sister in my slavery today, Malakia, and was in such delusions. Poor Haitian sister. Talking about, well, how can you be so sure that the oppressor is the devil? By what the oppressor has done to Haiti, by what the oppressor has done to the Dominican Republic. That's what the oppressor has done, you know what I mean, to the North American Indian and Seminole Indian and black man and woman in the West Indian Islands and here in America, and of Puerto Rico, and of Cuba, and of Argentina, of Brazil, and Colombia. Like the oppressor's crimes speak for themselves. That's why God is going to destroy the sinful kingdom. Like y'all believe when Christ returns, it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, and he's going to have some peace treaty with Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. No, that is not going to happen. And I'll tell you something else for you young brothers and sisters out there, and I was bringing this out at camp. The oppressor is the op of our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, that you know is Jesus Christ. The African, the Arab, man, you know what I mean? These Asians, they are the opposition to the King of Israel, Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, and the God of Israel, Yahweh, and our people, Yasha Allah Israel, man. That's why God is going to destroy the sinful kingdom. Read on.
And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth.
And he said, I'm going to destroy it from off of the face of the earth. Meaning, we're going to be looking at America in a museum one day. Like someday, Bob, when you walk in with hundreds of your grandkids through the museum, you know what I mean? They're going to be asking you, you know, like Adawan, sir, Abba, is this the man? This is who was ruling? Snatching the toupee off of that Donald Trump mannequin, looking at mannequins of Sleepy Joe and Reagan and all those oppressors. They're going to say, these are the people that ruled us, that ruled the entire earth. And we're going to be like, Khan. God is going to destroy America from off of the face of the earth for the crimes they have done against us, the Israelites, man. God's chosen people. And rightfully so. Like a lot of our people have this notion, you know what I mean? And it's through the delusion of Christianity. You believe, you know what I mean? God loves everybody. You believe that the Most High cannot hate. And that's not true. The Lord said in Ecclesiastes, it's a time for love, a time for war, and a time for hate. It's a time for all those things. And there's a time where America is going to fall just like those other kingdoms. If you read Daniel's the 7th chapter, man, and all those different kingdoms that came before, what happened to Egypt? God made Egypt a desolate dust bowl, and y'all want to wear ox today. God, you know what I mean, our God humbled the Egyptians, man, and destroyed them. Did the same thing to Babylon, the same thing to Persia, the same thing, you know what I mean, to the Greeks and to the Romans. What do you think our God is going to do to America? You think America ain't going to fall? America is going to fall, man, and it will not rise anymore because America has done nothing but oppress God's chosen people. Read on.
Oh God. Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob.
The Lord said that he will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, meaning this. When the Lord said he will not utterly destroy us, does not give you a license to go out there and live your best life. It does not give you a license to go out there and continue to think you're free, white, and 21 and live like the oppressor. The Lord saying that he will not utterly destroy us is letting us know that the Lord is going to have some mercy. And we pray in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge that the Lord does not take away the 2/3 out of Israel, man. We pray that all of Israel, all blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women make it on them chariots. But if you continue to live like the oppressor, you best believe you can be up and out of here and die with your oppressor daddy and with them Arabs and them Africans that you want to hold love to for, you know what I mean, forever. You can't do that. Now is the time to give your love back to our people. Now is the time to give our love back to our God and back to our King, saving that he will not utterly destroy the house of Israel, meaning God is not just going to utterly destroy us. That's why we have to turn back. That's why we were given grace, man. Our king did not die so you can continue to be a homosexual. Our king did not die so you can continue to have an OnlyFans and be a whore or be a whoremonger and be out of order. No, that's not what Yahweh Shai died for. Yahweh Shai died for the opportunity for us to come back into this truth, man. An analogy that 12-year General Muhammad gave, it was an excellent one. Imagine if you have, 3 sons, and your third son is perfect, and your oldest and your second, they're just evil bastards. And your third son is killed so the other 2 sons to come back in his truth. Alawat Panya, Barak, Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Wrap it up. Right? Sorry, Christ. Let's get it on. I'll take your questions. Go over the Uvalde Police Department. You should be ready to speak on that this week, all right? And I'll take any other questions you might have in the room or online. Udaya, we good? Sister, please. Shalom.
I have a question about 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know how or what are some of the ways that a wife can save her unbelieving husband.
No problem. Someone read it for her, please.
You said 7 and 16.
7 and 16, is that right? All right, go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 16. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband, or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife?
And this is a common situation that you can find yourself in when you come into the school, right? It's like this today. It was like this 2,000 years ago. You come into the truth, the person who you love does not. You come into the truth, your mother, your father does not. You come into the truth, your children do not, right? And the Bible describes exactly what you should do in that situation. Now, in this particular situation, it's the woman who is in the truth and the husband is not in the truth. Everyone understands. All right, go ahead. Well, you go up above it. I believe you need, I think the answer, I believe, is in 1 Peter 3 and 1. All right, is this the precept you wanted broken down, sister? So it's just saying that you don't know whether or not you can save your loved one, right? The truth and being saved on Judgment Day, or being saved from the hell and destruction that's waiting for every sinner today. That salvation is up to you. It's not up to the people who love you. You understand? Think of it like a child. You can raise your child up, his entire life. But then one day he'll become a man, and then the decision is his. Do you understand? And it's the same way with your mother, with your father, with the people who you love. You might love them, but in many times, the people you love pleasure more than they love you and more than they love living. Do you understand? Where if they were given the choice between death and having pleasure and life and giving up pleasure, they will choose death with pleasure. And so with all of your love and all of your care, it can't save them. All you can do is pray to the Most High and do the best that you can to expose them to life. Everyone understands, right? So I believe her answer is in 1 Peter 3 and 1, where it says that they might be one, the unbelieving husband. I appreciate it. Might be one. The unbelieving husband might be loved one with the righteous conversation of the wives. Do you have that? I think it's 1 Peter 3 and 2, 3 and 5. Look around there quickly, all right? Go ahead.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Mm-hmm. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection. What does subjection mean? Meaning that your husband rules over you. You are subject unto him, meaning you are under him, which is where the term sub comes from, right? Or subject, to be under, like submarine. Everybody understands. So you want to be under your husband, and that is a discipline, especially when you're in the truth and your husband is not in the truth, because you have to respect him and honor him, though in many times he's an idiot. and he is an absolute goofball. And he wastes money and spends money, on drugs or on gambling or just on stupid schemes because he's an idiot. And you, of course, have to honor him and never dishonor him on Facebook and never belittle and emasculate him. But your husband is a fool. And so it's a discipline to always still be subject unto him, which is what I'm describing, that subjection. You're never going to emasculate him or belittle him or embarrass him, but you'll do the best you can to hide his frivolity, to hide his foolishness, and give him good advice and good counsel so that he doesn't have to go to jail and ruin his life. So you might say, well, baby, you should really stop getting high. Maybe you should get into a program. Maybe you should get into the program. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you shouldn't spend your money on that. And if he, says, woman, get out of my face, then let him go ahead. Because how knowest thou if thou shalt save thy husband? Do you understand? Keep going.
That if any obey not the word.
Here we go. That if any, meaning if any husband obeys not the word, go ahead.
They also may without the word be one.
That's what you need right there. They also may without the word be one. And that is the artful skill of leading a man from being under a man, from being below him. Many times a child can do that to a parent. If a child has done this to you, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or if you have had to do this to a parent, where you're their child and you might have to say, but mommy, didn't you tell me never to quit? Mommy, daddy, didn't you tell me family stays together? You've seen those situations where a child will say something to an adult that just breaks an adult's heart because you know that this child is telling the truth and you know that this child is right. And the child has said it in such a way that he has not belittled you, but he has reminded you of the righteous things you taught him. Well, daddy, didn't you say family is supposed to stay together? Well, mommy, didn't you say that if family loves each other, we should never leave each other? You'll see the parents sit there cut to the soul. Well, a woman can do that to a foolish husband. She can do the same thing. She can lead him from beneath him. And if he's in the truth, if you're in the truth and your husband is not, that's your burden. That's a burden. All right. Keep reading. So that they may without the word be one. So he doesn't have the word, meaning the word of God, but he can without the word be one. Without the Bible, without you saying, nigga, Leviticus 17 says this. Nigga, don't you know the Revelation says this? That's not going to make your husband want to come into the truth. It's going to make your husband hate the truth because he doesn't want to be emasculated by his wife. Everyone understands. He has to be one without the word. And this is how you win it. Go ahead.
They also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
By the conversation of the wives. So what's that conversation? You're not teaching him. You're talking to him. Right? Just conversation, Well, baby, maybe it's time to get some help. Well, baby, why don't you let me handle the bills? Let me do the bills. Let me work out. Let me see who should get paid this month and who should not. I know sometimes you might struggle with drinking up all of the money, but let me handle it. Let me do it for you, baby. He'll look at you and he'll go, well, she's right. I do mess up sometimes. That's what a silly brother will say. Oops, I do F up a lot. Yeah, I effed up. And he'll look at you like you're stable. You know how to keep a roof over your head. And he does not know how to keep a roof over his head. And even a fool will realize that. He'll see he goes from couch to couch and you keep a consistent roof over your head. Even if it's Section 8, you still knew how to keep a Section 8. Most of these idiot men cannot keep a Section 8. You give them a Section 8, they're losing it in a month. Why? Because they're going to get high and they don't give a damn about having a roof because they don't care about the children that they have to take care of. So if you're a sister that can maintain a Section 8 home and you're married to a man in the world, you're doing better than him. And you could tell it to him in a kind and loving way. By the conversation of the wives, continue. There's a little more.
While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear.
That's what you need. While they behold your chaste conversation. What is chaste conversation? Chaste means what? Alexa, what does chaste mean?
The name chaste means hunter. Did that answer your question?
Alexa, what does the term chaste mean?
Chaste is a form of the word chase. As a verb, chase is usually defined as to pursue in order to seize, overtake.
Alexa, stop. What does chaste mean?
Here's something I found on the web. According to jakearchibald.com, chase is a term used in the United Kingdom to define a type of land reserved for hunting.
All right, stop.
by its owner.
Alexa, stop. I'm not pronouncing it well enough for Alexa. Chaste means pure, right? Pure or clean. That's what chaste means. It's Old English, all right? So he will behold your pure conversation, meaning this is not conversation coupled with emasculation or belittling him or talking about him to your mother. So many of you, your husband is going to hate your family, and it's your fault because you constantly talk to your mother about him and belittle him to your mother. But then when you make up, you wonder why your parents hate your husband. They hate your husband because of you, because of you. You wonder why your cousin hates your husband. You wonder why your sisters hate your husband. They can't stand each other. Meanwhile, you sit there like a baby, not understanding why none of your family members can't stand your husband. It's because of you. It's because of the way you talk about your husband to your family members. That is not pure conversation. That's vengeful and gossipy and childish conversation. You're a grown woman. What in the hell are you going to your mommy for about your marital problems? Your mother? Your mother having sex like you having sex. Legs over your head, knees behind your ears. But when you get in a problem, mommy, he did this to me. Mommy, you know, he like this, ma. He like this, ma. Meanwhile, your knees, you get triple jointed when you're not on the phone with your mother. But the minute your husband is angry with you, ma, is my sister there? Can y'all all come talk to me? Can I sit over there and y'all hug me and talk to me? A woman has to decide whether she's a child or not. You got to just make a decision one day, all right? If you're grown, and stop going to your mommy when you're upset, because when you're not upset, you're going to want to bring your husband to your mother's house when you're not upset. But when you try to bring your husband to your mother's house, they're going to fight and argue, or your husband is not going to want to go, or your parents are going to say, don't bring him over here. And you're going to go, but why, mommy? Chaste conversation, pure conversation, coupled with fear, meaning combined with fear. Fear of what? Fear of God. Right. And that is a rare thing, but it is expected in the UPK. The Father we fear. I pray you understand, all right? You understand this, correct, sister? Solid. Next. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Colonel Khan, sir. Brother had a question. Brother Shalom, I wanted to get the UPK stance on the rap video by Tiger, who was making fun of the so-called Mexicans. It was disrespectful to the tribe of Issachar and many people in the Mexican community.
I have not seen it, Akim, so I don't know what we're talking about, all right? The young brothers got to tell me about hip-hop and rap. So just break it down for me. Yediah, lay it out. Go.
The rapper Tiger did a rap video disrespectful to the tribe of Issachar.
Do we have it?
I can post it.
If you want, maybe I could understand. You can keep explaining it to everyone.
Colonel Khan, the rapper Tiger made a music video recently. You know what I mean? That was considered disrespectful to the tribe of Issachar, how he was dressed, making fun of them, sir. And a lot of Issachar rights, you know what I mean, was very offended by Tiger doing that.
Solid. All right, let's go into it. Come on.
I believe he also recently got a video where he was dressed as a woman too.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that one. That was a man under there. That's some Hollywood makeup they got with these cats out. So I'm assuming he has some record about to come out or something like that. Do they still use that term, record? All right, I'm assuming he has a record out, and this is all, I have to assume, promotion for some record, right? All right. If you can't find it, we'll move on. I haven't seen it. Of course, if the priests in the schools say it was a dishonorable thing to do, then absolutely believe it. All right. I have not seen it myself, but if your local priest says it was dishonorable, it was dishonorable. Shout out to Captain Mawakwa this weekend. We'll be out in Chicago. Give him a hand. And that we're out in Chicago to bring together the Hispanic tribes with the so-called Negro tribes, man, because that is the kingdom of heaven. Now, Tiger, I'm assuming, is against the kingdom of heaven. I'm assuming he does not want the restoration of God's eternal kingdom on earth. I have to assume he doesn't want that, man. And so, of course, he wants to say something foul and wicked about his brothers, because that, of course, is what sells records, doesn't it, right? The same brothers who will say something evil about Mexicans, who will they say something evil about every other record? Huh? Judites, black people. So a rapper who talks about killing and murdering a black man so he can have sex with his woman, and so he can take his girl from him and then shoot him in the head and steal his money. Well, you can't be surprised if he hates Mexicans. Doesn't he hate all of the 12 tribes of Israel? So at least maybe in this, Tiger is fair, because Tiger hates black people and Tiger hates Mexicans, right? And that's true for anyone who wants to sell records, because, of course, I don't know when they learned that sells records. I think they learned it back in the 90s, maybe 80s. They learned that makes money, hating black people and hating Hispanics, all right? And, of course, now all of us are talking about Tiger's record, which I wouldn't even know who the hell Tiger was unless he dressed like a woman or hated Mexicans. So I guess it worked. Everybody understands, which is the point. The point is this talk. The point is this talk. And now I'm assuming all of us are awaiting the record, right? To hear what Tiger's record will be like. Will he disrespect Mexicans on that record? Will he be pro-LGBTQ in that record? Tune in, which is the point. It's a promotion plot, and it always works. Me, I don't give a damn about Tiger. I don't know who Tiger is. Hating Mexicans is self-hatred. Everyone understands, all right? Next.
My brother had a question. He said, did we rule Europe for 1,000 years? Did Satan, the white man, came and deceived the nations one last time?
Yes. We ruled Europe. And when I say we ruled Europe, I mean the blacks and Hispanics were able to gain high-ranking positions in Europe. The white man also ruled Europe during that same time. But black people began to get so much power in Europe that was unheard of during the time of the Romans, all right? That's the time that they call today the Dark Ages. Black men were kings all throughout Europe during the Dark Ages. If you want to compare it to a time, you can compare it to the Democrat-run cities in America. Right? Democratically run cities are run by black people. The mayor is black. The chief of police is black. The city councilmen are black. The chief city councilmen are black. The fire commissioner is black. Right? Philadelphia is a city like that. Philadelphia's next mayor will obviously be somebody black. Philadelphia has had a black mayor since, I don't know how many black mayors they have, years and years and years. Baltimore, always a black mayor, always a black police chief. Black woman police chief in Philadelphia. Well, Europe was like that for 1,000 years, where at one time we were slaves and we were fighting in the Roman arenas, and then we were put in the military. And from our stellar military service, we began to get power when Rome fell. All right, and that's what happened in Europe. Then after 1,000 years, the lies of white supremacy began to drown out our achievements. And that was called the Renaissance. So yes, everyone understands. Next.
That was a question out loud, sir.
Solid. Any questions in the room?
No more comments, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say, like, of course, a brother take his oath, specifically what would that mean? I know the general was just like, it's all the orders, but there is any specifics about it, or is it just regular?
Okay, what you need is Hebrews, the 7th chapter. Give me that. For these priests are not priests without an oath. What the officer is speaking about is what everyone knows. When you come into the truth, I'll give you the process for those of you that do not know, right? You come into the truth. Can everyone hear me online? Make sure. All right, I forgot this microphone was here. You come into the truth if you want to become a member, if you desire to become a member of the school, you wear all black. This is for brothers. If a sister, she of course comes to class in a dress and she volunteers herself for service. All right. If you're a brother, I'll stick with a brother for now, right? But a sister also takes an oath, right? With different duties. A brother, he wears all black voluntarily. He just shows up in all black. No one tells him to wear all black. He decides to wear all black. Wearing all black is an indicator to the teachers and to the other brothers that he desires to have this office, that he wants it. And then for 90 days, he begins to display his desire for this job. And that goes on for 90 days or longer, depending upon the camp leader and depending upon your zeal. It's like anything else in life, wanting to be one Weststock. You're going to have to show that you want it. You'll have to demonstrate that you want it. If you don't want it, no one will bother you. Anyone could just come to class, sit in class, and stink like weed for 10 years, if that's what you want. You can just come in here, sit right in that class, stink like marijuana, and everyone will just know you're the brother that comes to class. You're the brother that's always at the camp. We used to call them camp junkies back in the day. I don't know if we still use that term, do we? That's what we always call them. This cat is a camp junkie, right? Because he'll be at camp for 10 years. For 10 years, he'll never come to class. He'll never do anything, but he really likes being at camp. He can do that. He's free to do that. I'm talking about that other kind of brother. The brother that wants to wear all black to indicate to us that he wants in my cult. Right. He wants to get in my cult. All right, we'll see. So then he wears the all black. After 90 days, or at least 90 days, he can become a trooper, right? After he's shown worthiness of it. When he comes up to get his Hebrew name, and you can only get your Hebrew name once you become a trooper, he gets his Hebrew name, he gets his head anointed. That is the oath. He takes an oath that day to obey the rules of the Israelite School of UPK and to hold the position of a trooper. So he has to do the things that a trooper must do. What are some things that a trooper must do? A trooper must obey orders from an officer. Every lawful order, every last one. Now, what is a lawful order? Who knows? Come on. Yeah. Well, also a lawful order would be show up at this house at 3 a.m. That's a lawful order because there is no law against getting up at 3 a.m. and showing up to a house. He would have to do it if he's a trooper. He would have to, if he gets a call, be here at 3 a.m. If he's a trooper, he has to show up at 3 a.m. there because that is a lawful order. Now, if you say, show up to the strip club at 3 a.m., he has to disobey that order because that is unlawful. Show up to the crack house at 12 noon. He must disobey you and then report you to his superior. But to show up, at this place to do this job at 3 a.m., that's lawful. And he has to do it. You die. Sweep the floor. Clean the toilets. Things that Commanding General Yohana did, things that I did, and thanked God for doing. I remember doing it like, they finally let me up in here. Ooh, I'm in here now. I'm cleaning that toilet like I'm in here. I'm one of them. Damn. I remember that. I mean, like it was yesterday, right? Clean up the classroom. Do this, do that, do this, right? He does those things. That's an oath. He took an oath to be a trooper and to do everything that a trooper must do. In general, it's follow every lawful order of an officer, and that could be any lawful thing. Do you get my point? Then he takes another oath if he shows stellar service as a trooper. Then he could be chosen to be an officer. Then his burden increases and increases. And each time you get your head anointed for a rank raise, it's a new, fresh oath. It's a fresh oath. So now you have a new job that you have just given your oath before God to do. And the worst thing you can do in the world is to break that oath. You cannot break that oath without penalty from God. Not penalty from man, but penalty from God, because he is the one who you have dishonored in breaking your oath. To be in the UPK, you have to have something. Often I ponder on this thing. If I could think of one thing that people don't have, that you have to be a family, to be an organization, to be anything that is more than one person, to be an officer in the UPK, you have to be loyal. And loyalty is everything. Without loyalty, you can't be a family member. You can't be in a family. If you wonder why your mother and father broke up, it was because of loyalty, right? People will do what they want to do unless there is something in them that will do a thing, not because they want to do it, but because it's the right thing to do. That's loyalty. Otherwise, your father is leaving your mother because she's getting on his goddamn nerves. And he promised to stay with her. And he meant it when he promised to stay with your mom, didn't he? Women, you know this. When a man says, I'll never leave you. We're going to be together forever, baby, because I love you. Sisters, I'm assuming you've heard that thing before, right, in the past. And then, of course, later on, something happens, and he feels something else. Well, the man that leaves you is disloyal because he has to stay because he has formed a bond with you. And that bond can't break when you want it to break because you took an oath. In that case, the oath of sex, which is marriage. You understand? That's another oath. You got people in the streets arguing today about reproductive rights, as if a woman doesn't have reproductive rights unless she has the right to abortion. You have reproductive rights. You chose to get pregnant. I'm fine, warrior. You made a choice. You decided to open your legs. Then you decided to not use any birth control at all. Well, you have the right to reproduce, clearly, because you did it. You just don't have the right to be disloyal to that unborn child when you change your mind and decide to kill him. When you decide you don't want this baby and you don't want to be in this relationship. Well, being an officer is the same thing. Taking an oath is the same thing. The minute you take that oath, you are bound to it, regardless of what you feel, like a marriage. Just like a marriage. Just like being members of a family. Just like a mother and child. If you step forward before this altar in whatever city you're in, and you decide to uncover your head and to be anointed, it is a promise to God. And if you break that oath, I'll just be telling your story in class. That's all. I'll just talk about this brother who left the truth and got killed here. This brother who left the truth and shot one of his children by accident right here in Philadelphia. Right here. That happened. Left the truth, shot one of his kids. It came and taken away all his kids. Forget about Tazadaki and the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, who betrayed Commander General Yohana, his Lord, and then died of COVID at 43 years old. It's a crying shame. And so many more, and I got 1,000 stories like that. If you want, I'll tell them all to you. Every last one with their names. You'll just be another name that I'll talk about. Or you'll be an example to others that they should be loyal. That's an oath. Everybody understands, all right? Am I good? You need this? Go ahead.
Specifically, so can I get
Please.
can I get the oath of the officers of 1,000, like the oath of their responsibility?
The specific oath. An oath of an officer of 1,000 would be to lead the officers of 50 and to lead the troopers and to follow all of the lawful orders of the officers of 5,000 on up. You get the point. That's how it increases. Your responsibility increases with each rank raise. At one time, I remember being a trooper, brother, and life was simple. Life was sweeping. And I remember packing a van and crates, my whole life crates. Just everything about crates. To where when I would drive and see crates, I would go, there's some crates over there. Some crates outside of that CVS. Y'all see those crates? It's like your eyes just notice crates because your life is crates. You're a trooper. Your whole life is crates. And how crates can fit in different trunks and or vans. So you're just about that. And just getting to camp. Oh my God. That's it. And it was hard to get to camp. It was like all I could do to get to camp. But that's it. That's all my burden is, just to show up here on this day at camp. And then you become an officer. Now you got to get a speaking together. And I remember my first speaking, I thought I was going to die. It was, I mean, when they said we had to go speak, it was like, what? I mean, and being so nervous. Oh my God. Hey, you had to get up on that podium. It was your turn. And bring up the next powerful speaker. Oh, God damn. When I was young, we had the biggest problem with not cursing. I remember that so clearly. Like, I just knew I was going to curse by accident. And somebody was going to pull me the hell down. It was Ephraim, my brother. He got up there as soon as he got up there. Yo, pussies. They said, come on down. Come on. He said, damn. And I watched him. I said, oh, my God, I'm going to curse. I'm going to curse. I just knew I was going to curse by accident. Thank the Most High, I did not curse by accident. But that was a new responsibility. I didn't have to get a speaking together and study and write it down and line up my precepts. Now, when I took a new oath of 50, I had a new job, and then you get an officer of 1,000. Now, guess what else your job is? To lead officers of 50 and to guide them, which you didn't have before. You didn't have to lead anybody. You could just do whatever you thought was right. Now you got to make sure they're doing the right thing, which changes everything up. It changes everything. It's like going from being a son to being a father. It's like before you're a son, so you have to just take out the trash. Now you're a father. You got to be an example to a son and make sure that the trash is taken out. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you just keep going up. So you understand? So just think of whatever. Now you're leading more people and you have new people you report to. And the higher you go up, it's harder based on now who you report to. Because if you're reporting to an officer of 1,000, he is much more forgiving and kind than reporting to a captain. And reporting, it changes because he's more demanding. More is expected of you because of a rank raise. So now they don't want to see you being incompetent. Like, what are you, a 5,000? A cap? You can't be incompetent. You can't make mistakes. Like an officer of 50, you make mistakes. You're a kid. This is your time to be an F up and make mistakes. But at 5,000, 10,000, come on now. Nobody want to hear about, oops, how you made a mistake. Nobody even cares or wants to hear it. They just wish they had another captain. You get my point? That's how it is. You get my point, right? Come on.
Precept, Second Paul.
Go ahead.
Numbers chapter 30 and verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word.
That's your precept. You're going to have to be loyal to make this bond. This can't be more game that you tell a woman, which is how everyone thinks. And women, it's the same thing. A woman takes an oath. And women, you really don't even understand when you take an oath because your nature is to only care about men. A woman at her nature, all she cares about is a man. She cares about nothing else at all. So once again, if you're in the truth, many women will come into the truth to get a man. And when it doesn't go right, they will leave the truth because of that man. Because really, they're only here because of him. So if things don't go well, they'll leave the truth because things aren't going well in the marriage. So now she doesn't believe in that God anymore because the marriage with the man who serves that God didn't go well because this bitch doesn't even understand loyalty in any way. She doesn't get it. Loyalty is not doing what you have to do. Loyalty is doing what you should do, what is right to do. Your whole life, you just do what you have to do. Why'd you steal? Hey, man, I had to. Why'd you have that abortion? I had to. Why'd you shoot that brother? Come on, man, I had to. Why do you sell drugs? I ain't had no choice. The cop pulls you over. Why were you speeding? Because I had to get to the hospital. Because I had to. When you grow up and learn loyalty, you won't do what you have to do. You'll do what you should do. You'll do what's right, no matter what. That's loyalty. If you take an oath, you're going to be bound to that oath. What I would advise you to do, if you want to be an oath breaker in the UPK, leave quietly. Don't make noise. Don't make trouble for yourself. Just hand in your cover and leave. We're going to make a graveyard in every school. We'll call it the graveyard. We'll hang up the covers of men who broke their oath. We'll hang it up. It'll be called the graveyard. You'll just hang them up right there and put them there. And that's that. And so everyone can see the graveyard, the men who betrayed their oath. And the minute you want to leave, just hang it up on that hook and get the hell out of here. And I'm fine. And that's the best thing for you. Everybody understands. Go ahead.
So the last one, could we get the oath that the sisters would take?
The oath the sisters would take. Let's give me that one. And there's a couple of good ones. I'm sorry. I think you're right. Keep going.
Come.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. Come. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. If a woman,
You get that? He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Meaning, if you say you're going to do it, you got to do it. Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Did you say you were going to do it? Then you have to. That's it. This is not, the regular, slick way that you've been living your life until now. Until now, you talk a lot of shit. You say whatever you want to say. And then when you change your mind, you change your mind. This is not that. You will do whatever has come out of your mouth. You're going to do it. Keep going.
Numbers chapter 30 and verse 3. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand.
Meaning what? A woman also makes a vow. And if her father doesn't stop her from making that vow, her vow is going to stand. So you women, you come up here and you get your head anointed. And you've decided to be a sister in the Israelite school of UPK. And you know what comes with that. A high standard. You can't be a stupid bitch on Facebook after that day. You can't go on Facebook and vent. I was just venting because I was hurt. You broke your oath. You can't bring embarrassment to this school. I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to come right here and talk about you right here and tell everybody what I know about you. And I know everything about you. Everything. I'm going to tell everyone the stink between your legs. If that's what you want to do, then that's how it's going to be. Because a woman has to keep her oath. You took it. You said it. No one forced you to do it. You decided to do it. You're bound to it. You came into school. You can't act like a bitch in the world. You can't embarrass the school and break your oath. You can't do that. You can't do that, Aquaf. You're going to have to keep it. Just like the rest of us. Just like all of us. Come on. The other ones you want to keep, you want to go to Anna, who lived in the temple. You want to go to 1 Corinthians 7. If a woman has not a husband, then she is bound unto the Lord. If she has a husband, she has to please her husband. But if she has no husband, then she has to be in the work of the Lord, which means taking care of those brothers, being everything that those brothers need you to be so they can get to camp. That's a woman's oath. Everybody understands, all right? We good here or not? Solid. You die? The water. Questions in the room? Let me know. All right. We can play that tiger thing if you want.
I don't know if we can play the video, sir.
No problem.
I can show the screenshot of the image that got about it. Thank you, sir.
No sweat. What's this? Somebody just sent me something. Captain Desariak, if you out there, you sent me something. I'm not sure what it is, all right? 1 second. Oh, God. All right. Oh, okay. Let me get the precepts I need to go over. All right. Hold on. Let's go to this might be a good one on topic. Give me Luke 11:24. Go ahead.
Book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest and finding none.
This is a precept you need to add to the topic we just went over about someone leaving the truth. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, the unclean spirit goes through dry places. That trauma that you went through in childhood, when you come into the truth, the demon that came into your life to comfort you through that trauma, it will leave you. And everybody knows when that happens. Everybody can tell when you're not that same girl you were in the world. You're different. You're not that same man you were in the world. You're different. This is what you might not realize. The demon that has been in your life since you were 9, since you were 13, since adolescence, usually that's when it happens, or since the first trauma happens, the first molestation might be around 6 or 7 or 9 years old. That thing you had to put in your brain to get through it, which is what in essence a demon is. A demon is a thing that you take on in the worst time of your life, in the time of stress. That's why, of course, when Satan said that he will make Job curse the Most High, what did he do to Job? He put Job through terrible, terrible trauma. Job lost his children. Job lost his money. Job's wife turned against him. That was what Satan knew usually works. If he puts you through enough trauma, you will betray God. And that's why people leave the truth. You'll betray God. Why? Because things aren't going well for you right now. You've lost your job. You've lost your kids. You've lost your money. And Satan knew that if he did that to Job, Job would curse God. And that's exactly what Satan told the Most High. And the Most High said, do it. Do it. Saving one thing, don't kill him. And then he went and cursed Job in every possible way. Well, Satan knows that if you go through terrible things, that will make you take on a demon. And when you take that demon on, he controls your life. So now that was you for the whole life, your whole life until you come into the truth. A demon just telling you get more and more and more high. Smoke more, take more pills, do it. Have more destructive sex, destroy yourself, and that demon controlled your soul until you came into the truth. Then you became a new person. How did you become a new person? What was happening in the spiritual world? That demon left you. But when he left, he went into a place that was very uncomfortable for him. He didn't like being there. He doesn't want to be there. He misses home. He misses you because you're his home. Or she misses you because you were her home. You've been together since you were molested, since your father left. And that demon misses you. And they go into a dry place. Continue. Come on. I'm sorry. Who wanted? Come on.
So with that analogy, could it be like, you say that the demon gets uncomfortable? Could it be like, well, I guess in this realm, like you're the one that's uncomfortable with this new self and you want to go back to what's more comfortable to you?
Well, more so, what makes you uncomfortable is the new traumas. You get my point? You come into the truth, you're happy because the demon is gone. Then you get some persecution. Then you lose this, you lose that. You know, things start to happen to you while you're in the truth. This is what Christ talked about in the parable of the sower, right? What are some things that happen? You love the truth, but then some wicked one comes and takes the truth out of your mind, right? Somebody who you trust, they come and make you doubt the truth because you trust this person. So if they don't like you being in the truth, maybe being in the truth is wrong because that's my mom. My mom said I'm in a cult. My mom said this is hate. My mom said, wait a minute, maybe I am because I usually listen to her or him. Well, that's what Christ said is that wicked one, that comes and catches away that which was sown in your heart. So they pluck it out your heart like a crow plucks a seed out the ground. Or you go through some persecution, meaning now because you're in the school, oh my God, your job found out. Your baby's mama found out. People are looking at you like you're crazy. Oh my God, you don't want everybody to know you're in the truth. They might find out I'm in the school. They found out I'm in the school. They found out I'm in that cult. Now, because you're scared, you'll leave the truth because you don't want to feel on the outside of popular society. It's comfortable being like everybody else, isn't it? It's a comfort. It's like you hide among the mass, right? You hide in them. You're one of them. We all celebrate Christmas. We all celebrate New Year's Eve. You can hide. You can hide in Thanksgiving. No one can see you. You don't have to step out to the front and have bravery and courage. You can hide in the Christmas and the Thanksgiving and in the saluting of the flag. Who has ever not stood up for the national anthem in this room at an event? Raise your hand. Brock, give her a hand. Brock, I'll tell you how well y'all was shot. Now, Sister Simon, when was it? Tell me about that.
It was in 1997.
Uh-huh.
When I went to John Cooper.
Uh-huh.
And I went to Poconos.
Uh-huh.
It was called Red Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when we had an assembly or someone was graduating,
Mm-hmm.
we will always have to stand up and say the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And something in my spirit didn't sit well with that. And I just sat down. I didn't get up.
Now, when you were sitting down, everyone else stood up, right? And what did it feel like when you saw all them standing up and you were sitting down?
It felt awkward at first, but then after a while, some of the students were following what I did.
And got bravery because of you. Well, let me tell you, many people in the UPK, we don't stand up for national anthems. And I want to use that as an example of what it's like living in the truth. So you're at some graduation and they're all standing up. Sister, you want to break it down? Go ahead.
My sister, she goes to the Catholic school, but she told me like they had their I don't know, their type of ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
She told me it was before, but when we got there, I got there kind of late to purposely miss that part, and
Mhm.
I got in there and I didn't know.
It's
And
too
they
late.
told me it's about college.
Uh-huh.
Then they said start praying. I got up and left, and then, like everybody was looking like, why is she leaving? I just left. My dad said so called say he doesn't stand up, but he's sitting there. I said I don't even want to give them the respect of quietness. Like,
I give her a hand. I hear that. Well, then, to understand that, understands what life is like in the truth. You're in the room, everyone is standing up for a flag, and you're the only one not doing it. And the feeling that they want you to feel is you're on the outside, you're being ostracized, you're not one of the big group. And most people, when they feel that feeling, they'll stand because they just don't want to feel that. Well, that's the same reason people leave the truth. You don't want to feel abnormal. You don't want to feel like you're not with everyone else. And so you'll just join them to hide among them, right? Precept. Adam sewed the fig leaf on so that he could blend in with the trees in the garden. So he could be just like them because that feels comfortable, because you don't have to have that feeling of I am nothing like them. I'm on the out. That takes courage. You understand, right? People will leave the truth because of that. Then the other reason is for the lust of money. For the lust of money and filthy lucre, people will leave the truth. Because in here, you can't sell drugs. You can't prostitute yourself. You can't commit credit card fraud and PPP loans and all type. You can't do those things. And because you really have to do those things because of your bills, you really are just doing what you have to do. You'll leave the truth over that. Everybody understands. I'm just explaining what's happening in the spiritual world now with this precept. The demon that left you, he wants to come back. That's the point. Keep going. I think you had it, Malak, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Whoever was reading, keep reading. You got it? No problem. You can stop me with questions too if you have them, all right?
I was not reading.
Okay, I think it was at Matthew. You were reading? Go ahead.
Seeking rest and finding none.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I will return unto my house whence I came out.
He says what?
I will return unto my house whence I came out.
He says what?
I will return unto my house whence I came out.
What's his house? You are his house. You are the house that he came out. When you stop smoking weed, you stop smoking weed because the demon of weed addiction left you. That's why you gave up weed. But what will happen? You will relapse. Relapsing is him coming back. That should be simple enough to understand. There was a time when you were off marijuana. You were off drugs. It might have been months. It might have been years. It might have been weeks. And before you know it, you start to get high again. That's because he came back. Because he missed his house. He missed his home. Continue.
Come. And when he cometh, he findeth it sweat.
And when he comes into your home is clean now. It's a better house because the house is all brand new and clean and swept. He's like, this is great. This house is clean now. It was a filthy house the last time I was here. Now the house is clean. So because it's clean, there's more room. There's more room in this house now. Keep going.
Verse 26. Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself.
Then goeth he, and he goes and gets 7 more spirits more wicked than him. Ooh, so when you were in the world, you pop pills and smoke weed. You come into the truth, you get clean. You leave back out the truth. You're going to suck a penis. You're going to wonder how that penis got in your mouth. You're going to sit back and go, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm shocked by this. It's easy, it's really not a difficult equation to think about, right? You're going to get a bad drug addiction, and a bad drug addiction means you're open for anything. Anything you have to do to get drugs, you'll do. You think every prison punk is gay? Huh? No. They just really need to get high out. You understand? That's all. They just really, really need to get high. And that's all you need to be gay. You don't need more than that. You just need drugs desperately. I saw these videos on the damn TikTok where somebody goes and asks people, would you suck a penis for $1 billion? Have you seen that before, you guys? And I go, why is he asking this question? Like, what is this about? I try to understand it. What's the point? Oh, he's not going to give you the billion. Does he have the billion? He don't have the billion. So why is he even asking, would you suck a penis for $1 billion? You die.
Even if you give it, I had a true story. So I had a brother in my slave argue with brothers. I had to jump in. He was like, but you can get the billion and nobody will see you do it. I'm like, bro, this sounds like you want to find out who's gay beside
You die. That's all it could be, Ak. Because don't nobody have the billion. Let's everybody say, yes, I'll suck it right now for $1 billion. Is he going to pull it out? And they always pick $1 billion. They don't pick, $25. That's the one where this is about right now. So they pick $1 billion because that, of course, like, why not $1 million? That's always wondered. Okay, if you suck it for $1 billion, why not $1 million? I mean, damn. I mean, you're going to say any number, right? But they pick $1 billion because it's the outlandish cartoon number. So that way they can just see whoever might possibly be thinking about sucking it. Like anybody, they pick a number. Who for $17 trillion will suck a penis? Right. Him. Let me get my list down so I can know who I might suck it. The point is to figure out who's gay, right? So that he can know there's a chance. There's a chance you might suck it. You're dying. Because he know the nigga that sucks it for $1 billion will suck it for $40, which is the fact that we all have to face. If there is any number, that number is coming. Do you understand? If you're sucking for $1 billion, the first of the month, with a warrant for child support and a warrant that you got to pay, you won't suck it for 500? Huh? You better listen, because you can definitely, you might not be in need of $1 billion, but you will be in need of 1,000. That's, I mean, need meaning you're going to jail if you don't get this 1,000. You're going to prison without $2,000. You're going to jail. If you don't know that day is coming, that day is coming for everybody. If you haven't already been there, where you need 2 G's, and 2 G's means sleeping outside or having a place to live. 2 G's means going to jail or being free. If you're sucking for $1 billion, you will suck it for 2,000. That's just a fact of it. So don't be shocked when you leave the truth and you suck it for $50, because you're going to need that 50. Keep going.
God, oh my God. And they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
All those demons enter in and they live in you. And your last state was worse than your first. Your life after you leave the truth will be worse than your life before you came into the truth. All I can do is one, right? I've made my choice.
Right.
Anything else?
Brother,
Go ahead.
break down in Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 18. He wants to know, is the stranger an actual Gentile or an Israelite?
Let's hear it.
Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 18. He doeth execute the judgment of the fathers and widow, and loveth the stranger, and giving him food and raiment.
That stranger is talking about an Israelite.
Right.
But who would the strangers be? The Mexicans would be the strangers.
Right.
The Dominicans would be the strangers. The Puerto Ricans would be the strangers. The people from North Philly and you're from West Philly, that's the stranger. This scripture is about ending black on black crime, black on Hispanic crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime. You know who's a stranger? If you're a Mexican in Chicago, a stranger is a Judite, because the Judites in Chicago hate the Mexicans, and the Mexicans hate the tribe of Judah, hate the so-called Negro. It's just like that as well in Southern California, where they hate one another because of, drug nonsense and prison garbage, right? Give me some other ones. Puerto Ricans, I think, hate Dominicans. Puerto Ricans and Dominicans hate each other. Haitians and Dominicans, my God, they're strangers to each other, because Haitians and Dominicans cannot stand one another. Hondurans hate Puerto Ricans, hate Mexicans. The South American people cannot stand the Central American people. They hate each other and kill each other so much that they have to leave their countries and come to America. Those murders in South and Central America, those are tribes killing each other. And the death is so bad that they'll swim over the river to get here, because strangers are killing them. When I say strangers, people from Sinaloa are killing the Asherites from Media. Was it Media? I think it's Media, right? Sinaloa and Media, and not Sinaloa. I think I'm forgetting about the other one. But those little Mexican towns, they hate each other. They can't stand each other. Those Colombian towns, they hate each other. Those are strangers. Strangers meaning Israelites, blacks and Hispanics, who traditionally don't go around each other. We don't mix with each other. Well, the Most High God sends Jesus Christ, man, to make strangers love each other. Right. I think right here in Philly, who hates each other in Philadelphia? Is it still West Philly, North Philly? To my memory, that's what it was. Is this? Anybody know? South Philly and North Philly. Yes, indeed. I remember that. South Philly and North Philly hate one another. I mean, it's ridiculous. I remember West Philly. I'm from North Philly, and we hated people from West Philly. Hated them. To where General Mayock was from West Philly. And I remember thinking, I can't be around this cat. I thought it in the truth. Wait a minute. Hey, I can't bring him around. I can't go around. He wanted me to come around his neighborhood somewhere I would not go in the world. I wouldn't go down bottom in the world. Are you joking? It was something you just didn't do. General Mayock's neighborhood and my neighborhood from North Philly were strangers. We wouldn't go around. We wouldn't ever go into each other's neighborhood, ever. We were strangers. Christ came to end that. That's what the barbecue in Chicago was about, ending that beef that we have with each other that divides us and strengthens our enemy. That's over. Christ came to end that garbage. We're going to do this. Read it one more time.
Sir. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 18. He do execute the judgment of the fatherless.
That's what he does. He executes the judgment of the fatherless. What does that mean? The fatherless, because there is no father, there is no protector. So inevitably, someone who has no man around the house gets abused by people because there isn't any man you can go to when someone abuses you, when someone harms you. Who are you going to get? You can't get anybody. You don't have a father. So what happens? The people around you know you don't have a man in your life, and they begin to steal from you, rob you, abuse you, knowing that there is no one that protects you. No problem. The Most High is raising up priests that protect the fatherless. You don't have a father, you don't have a man in your life or a man that is able to give justice to you when you're wrong, you come into UPK. Now that you're a priest, now you're around priests, now no one harms you anymore. That's that. Now, if you're in the UPKR and you're in the right, no one is allowed to touch you, to harm you, to do anything to you. You're under our protection. Does everyone understand? So now you have someone that will judge the fatherless, that will give you justice now. Continue.
And widow.
And widow. A widow, what is she going to do? You can steal from her and rob her. Why? Who in the hell is going to stop you? Her husband is dead. So everyone robs her, everyone abuses her until she finds these priests. Until she finds someone that will protect her. That's what you find in the UPKI. You find that here. If the woman with no husband, with no protection, now she has protections. Now she has big brothers. Now she has a father. The brothers who never had big brothers, never had a father's protection, now you have it. Now you have the backup. If you thought you didn't have backup before, you got it now. So now what? So now there's no reason to be afraid of anyone ever again. So now will you treat each other right? Will you be kind to one another, seeing that no one can do anything wrong to you? So now all you have to do is go treat other people right. That's all. There's no reason for you to be a fake tough guy because now you have backup. That's what happened with the police force. I don't know when that happened. I used to think that the police force was full of ex-Navy SEAL types, ex-military cats. I watched that video. The police force looks like it's full of fake high school tough guys. Like a ton of cats I remember in high school that was just, tough in high school. Fake tough guys. Tactical, they got so much gear on now. I mean, they know how to look tough. They got an armor on like a medieval knight. They know how to look tough. Helmet, this, belt, there's all this stuff on. Meanwhile, when the bullets start flying, they was running scared. That's what happens. So you don't have to worry about yourself anymore because in here you have actual men that can give you justice. So now, will you go and be kind to each other? Will you go and treat people correctly, seeing that you don't have to worry about them ever doing anything wrong to you? Continue.
And loveth the stranger.
And loves the stranger. I know Tiger hates the Mexicans, but we don't. Why does Tiger hate the Mexicans? Because they didn't grow up in the same neighborhood. Because they talk a different language. That's it. Because he's from North Philly and he's from West Philly. Because he's from Camden. And who do people in Camden hate? I assume people from Philly or people from, right? People from Philly. Or, all of this stupid mess that we grow up with constantly all the time. We're going to love those people who you were taught to hate on your block or in your neighborhood or in your village. We're going to love them. We're going to do it. And because of that, we will focus our eye on who actually is hurting us. Everyone understands. Anything else?
No.
Solid. Give me a couple more. Any other questions? That was it for the questions?
Oh, there's one more question.
Go ahead.
Sir. brother wanted a general breakdown of Hebrews chapter 9 verse 15.
All right, go ahead. Maybe I'll wrap it up with give me Hebrews 7. These priests are not priests without an oath after the order of Melchizedek. I'll take that. All right. You can grab that, Malak. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Warrior. You had a question? Mm-hmm.
I know sex is marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What is fornication?
You mean fornication is unlawful sex, right? So sex is marriage, the marriage that's had with a man and a woman of marriageable age. But of course, people have sex with children. People have sex, gay sex. People have sex with animals. Go look up. You want to blow your mind one day, look up how they have sex in Afghanistan. You'll see that one time and you won't want to see it again. In Afghanistan, they have sex with sheep. Right? That's their form of masturbation because they're in the mountains by themselves with nothing but sheep. And those Taliban members who were fighting America, they had sex with sheep, put their penises in sheep. Well, that's not marriage. You get my point? It's unlawful sex, and that's what fornication is. Unlawful sexual contact, all right? No problem. Next.
Like we said, Hebrews 7.
Let me make sure we're done with the question. I think someone had a question just now. Whoever had the question earlier, type it in again. He said it. What did he say? I forget now. Maybe it was the brother I'm thinking about. Give me Hebrews 7 then. Hebrews 7 for these priests. You don't have a Malak? I'll tell you what it is. Go to Hebrews 7 first. Look around 7 and 14. Once again, this Thursday, Lord allow, I'll be down there in Chicago, teaching a class down there for the Fire Weekend, the unification of blacks and Hispanics. We're getting it on this week. I think I'm down there Thursday or Wednesday or something like that. All right. Stand by. Let's go to Hebrews 7. What do you see at 14, Ak? Anything?
For it is evident that our Lord bring out of Judah. I see in verse 11.
Yeah.
It says, if therefore protection provides for the Levitical priesthood, well, further was in need of another priest.
Stand by. Remember them?
Like, what was the question again, sir?
I'm just looking for the oath precept right here.
I think it might be in 21.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21.
Yeah, that's what I need. For the law made nothing perfect. All this I could go into. I'll go down to. Go to 16. Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 16.
Read 12 first.
Hebrews chapter 7, verse 12. For the priesthood being changed.
For the what?
For the priesthood being changed.
For the what?
For the priesthood being changed.
That's what you need, right? You need to remember that as we read farther down. Many Christians who believe in sin and murder and rape and child molestation and not paying tithes and being homosexual, they will say that this precept is about freeing you from all of God's rules. This precept is not about that. This precept is about strengthening one particular rule from God, making it stronger. Read that part again.
Come. Verse 12. For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law.
The priesthood was changed. How was the priesthood changed? Before this, the only priest were men of the tribe of Levi, of the seed of Aaron. You had to be from the seed of Aaron to be a priest, right? The Levites were separated from the Most High, and they were all the lower priests. But the chief priest, the high priest, were of Aaron's lineage. Aaron was Moses' brother. But every Levite, every last one of them was a priest. Every last one of them. You were a priest simply if you were born of the tribe of Levi. Keep going.
Verse 13.
Keep going.
Verse 13. For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar.
Because everyone should see right now, we're talking about a tribe. We're talking about the changing of only a Levite being a priest and of all tribes being priests. Why? Because this new priesthood, this new order is started from the tribe of Judah, not from the tribe of Levi, because our king is a Judite, who you would call today a so-called Negro. Continue.
For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah.
I just broke that down. Keep going.
Of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood.
You understand that Moses didn't say that the Judites were separate from the people and joined to the Most High God in priesthood. Judites were just like any other tribe. But this priesthood is founded on a man from the tribe of Judah. So because the law has changed, because the priesthood has changed, the law must change. The priesthood was for Levi, which meant what? The tithes went to Levi. But if the priesthood has changed, what also must change? The law that says that only a Levite can receive tithes. The priesthood changes, so the law has to change. Who did you pay your tithes to in the past? The Levites. But the priesthood has changed, which leaves a necessity for the law to change. Now you're going to have to give your tithes to the priest after the order of Melchizedek, which is Jesus Christ, who is from the tribe of Judah. Keep going.
Oh God. Verse 15. And it is yet far more evident, for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there ariseth another priest.
It is for the similitude, meaning similar to Melchizedek, there's another priest now. The priesthood has changed. Keep going.
Who was made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life.
What's the carnal commandment? What does carnal mean? That's what you need here. Malak.
Carnal is like your flesh.
Your flesh. What was the fleshly commandment?
That only the Levites can be priests.
Because how'd you get to be a Levite? Which means you got to be a Levite from your right in front of you. Just said it, young man. Say again. Come on. From your flesh. You pointed at it right. That's carnal. Your flesh. The carnal commandment was Levites got the tithes because they were Levites, because the flesh was of Levi. That's a carnal commandment. Now read that again.
Who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life.
Nah, but this new priesthood ain't like that. That's not how this one is. This is like Melchizedek. This is not because of what tribe you are. This is because God chose you. That's what this one is about. It's not simply because, it's not nepotism. It's not because your father was a Levite, so now you get to be a priest. Nah, no more. That priesthood failed, which is what you're going to see right now in America, in Great Britain, in Trinidad, and Jamaica. In Canada, you're going to see the old powers fall away. The people that people used to look to, the institutions that people at one time looked to for security and for trust, these institutions are falling. The Christian church is falling. Your federal government is falling. They can't take care of you in Texas. They can't lower the gas prices. They can't house you. Your Christian pastor can't encourage you enough to go on another day in this hell the way his dancing used to work in the past. Old institutions are losing their power because the Most High God is raising up new priests, new institutions. And so these old ones have to go. They're done. The old preachers, the old reverends, the old mayors, the old people that time and time again, your mommy would tell you, vote for this person and things will change. Vote for this person and things will change. Go to church and listen to this person and things will change. Those old trusted institutions are no longer trusted. No one trusts them anymore because the Most High God is raising up new priests under commanding General Yohana in the Israelite school of UPK. And these new priests, they perform duties that the old priests never thought about. They perform the service that the old priests failed to complete, which is what this is about. This is about getting rid of the old priests, the old reverends, the old institutions, and now throwing your support to the new government. Continue.
Verse 17. For he testifieth, thou art a priest forever.
Thou art what?
Thou art a priest forever.
Keep going.
After the order of Melchizedek.
After what?
After the order of Melchizedek.
Melchizedek was a man from God, having neither father nor mother, who came down and received tithes from Abraham of gold and silver. He took those tithes and then went back to the Most High God, all to establish a priesthood that predates the old priest of Levi. The priest that you see in the UPK, we've been around before the Christian church, around before democracy, around before the Democratic Party, around before all of the old trusted people that you relied on, that you no longer rely on because they've proven themselves to be incompetent. Well, follow these priests because these priests predate them. Continue. Brakatay Hawaii Yahweh. Jeremiah. Salakia. Everybody gets the point. With that, pass the class over to Priest Officer Daniela.